All right, that we're official. We're on.
Hey,
Hey, we're right on time. 12. I said 12:45. See, look at us. Look at us go.
everything's going exactly according to plan.
Yeah, we definitely didn't go live with just me on it.
Oh,
It's only been 50 shows for me to get it right, and I still can't get it right.
hey, maybe I think this is 49 because I was gonna wear
49.
this is 49 because I was gonna wear 49er stuff today, and then I decided against it.
Well, you only get one shot at 49, and you blew it.
Mm, it is what it is. It's almost t-shirt weather today, so I just wanted to rock. I haven't given the KBL some love, so
I thought Mitchell Trubisky was going to be your new quarterback, then he signed on with the Bills as a backup, so you got that working for you.
we're right, wrong, or indifferent. Jimmy's our guy,
How's your week been?
dude. So good. Just like I don't know. There's so many cool I almost have like a little bit of just like sticker shock myself just from some of the cool things that have happened like the last 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
But dude, it's just so fucking good. Like everything that we've talked about leading up to this time, it's happening. Like this is the time. Like everything that you did over the last year, everything's just clicking now, and it's overwhelming, but it's amazing.
Yep. Why do you think it's clicking?
Because it's time. Because we laid the foundation and we put in the work and we made the relationships and we showed our value. And now that people are, you know, every day, every hour in some cases are seeing that light at the end of the tunnel getting closer and closer. And it's like, all right, we better get our stuff into gear.
Do you think people are more confident? A lot of people have some extra cash in their pocket this week. The stimulus hit. We don't do politics on this show, but do you think that's contributing to people's confidence, or is it the turn in weather, or is it the vaccinations, or is it something else, or is it a combination of everything? Do you think?
All of the above.
Yeah.
It's everything. I mean, the weather always helps.
Yep.
Vaccinations and knowing that, if you do have people that are high risk, hopefully they're at the top of that list or they've already been vaccinated. So that's a huge peace of mind. Anytime your bank account is $1,400 higher than it was the day before, that's never a bad thing. And the real big thing, for the first time in a long time, just the news coming out is just good.
Yeah.
Like we haven't had good news. Every time you saw something on the news, another thing was shutting down or another thing was closing or another thing was added to the list of shit you can't do anymore.
Yep.
And it's the reverse of that now.
Yep.
Places are opening up. Baseball can have fans in the stands. You know what I mean? 20%, but still 9,000 people is going to sound like 90 after the last year. So I think it's all of that, and it's just everything that you've been saying, man. Roaring 20s 2.0. They're just about here. Get ready.
It is just about here, and I agree with you. Like the fact that I saw last night, Siobhan showed me an article. We were watching a movie, and she goes, "Hey, there's a restaurant in Rome that is doing vaccination Thursdays, so it's only going to be open to people that have been vaccinated to come in on a Thursday, because I have not eaten. Actually, I take that back. Last Saturday." So I'm one shot in. I got Moderna 2 weeks ago because I have high blood pressure. So that was my link to get in. Had an awful reaction, but that's a different show. But they have a vaccination Thursdays where you can go and eat at the restaurant if you've been vaccinated. So I have not sat in a restaurant until last Saturday. So Paige had a ski race down at Toggenburg on Saturday, and I had not sat in a building that was not my house and like ate a sandwich for a year. I'm just that guy. You know how careful how careful I've been. And I was sitting there with my mother and Siobhan, and I literally brought my mask down, and I actually had some anxiety because of it. Like I hated the masks at first. I hated it. The masks actually gave me anxiety to start with. Like I freaked out. Like the first time I went to a store, like not like full blown like panic attack, but like I was like, this just feels so awkward. So I literally was sitting at Toggenburg Saturday. I grabbed just like a turkey, like a turkey sandwich or whatever. And I pulled my mask down and I was like, oh my God, like you're eating in front of like around people. And I was like, it's just going to take time to get it going again. You know, like we're going to have to like retrain ourselves how to like almost re-enter society. Like I've been forcing myself to go to the mall. Like I hate going to the mall, but I'm like, I'm taking Paige and her friends to the mall. We're getting, you know, getting smoothies, doing stuff like that. I'm like literally pushing myself out the door, but it all has been good news this last week too. I'm with you, man.
I cannot wait to be able to just do everything to go places, like to be able to not have to think twice before you even shake somebody's hand.
Yeah.
That is what I'm just most excited for.
Yep.
And everything that's going to come with that.
I just want to hug people, you know, like I literally, you know me. I mean, that's just who I am. And, you know, there's so much good that has come out of this, but I just can't wait to climb onto my boat at 7 o'clock at night, somebody meet me there with a 6-pack and just go cruise for an hour. You know, like I really hope like next week it's supposed to be like in the 60s, maybe even touch 70. Like remember last year, thank God, think about it this year or last year, we went from like the dead of winter to like midsummer. There was no spring last year. I don't know if everybody remembers that, but there was like no spring last year. We went from like skiing. We like walked off of Toggenburg at like right around today and like walked right onto the baseball diamond. There was nothing in between, and I am here for it. I hope. And we had probably the greatest summer like I can ever remember last year. It was like 82 degrees and sunny almost every day. Like I look back at pictures, we took pictures almost every day, and it was perfect. I hope we're gifted that kind of summer again.
I got to spend more time in Casanova, apparently.
Dude, you got to come up, man. It was beautiful last year.
Maybe enjoy the cranberry flavored cocktail on the boat.
Oh, do we have permission to say it yet? We don't have permission. Nope. On that note, I'm going to do something I haven't done before, so I'm probably going to screw this
segue.
up. Yep, nice segue.
Thank you.
I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to probably screw this up. Let's see if I can do this.
I'm excited about this already.
All right. So you may or may not know, I don't know if this is translating on Facebook or not. I think it is, hopefully. Let me see here for a minute. Let the video catch up. Do you know what this is?
I'm assuming it's a spiked seltzer of some sort.
It is a spiked seltzer of some sort. I'm going to give you a second to kind of marinate on it. What do you think about it?
I mean, it looks like a seltzer, which I'm not overly sure is a good thing.
Is there anything good about it that you like?
I like the design a lot.
Mm-hmm. What does it remind you of? Anything?
It looks to me like a seltzer that I almost designed in a past life a little bit.
So I'll tell you what this is. I think did I kill my Facebook? I can't see it.
I think you're good.
So what this is a collaboration. This is a collaboration between Travis Scott and Anheuser Busch.
Okay.
So for those that don't know, Travis Scott's probably the hottest rapper out there right now. Probably the biggest guy right now. If you play some of his songs, I'm sure he's all over the radio. He's all over this stuff. But this was a collaboration that he did with Anheuser Busch, and it's interesting because they went to him as kind of like the top guy. Yep. So for those that aren't, kind of in the know, in the know, what big companies like Anheuser Busch do, they have a very hard time innovating is the word I would use. A lot of, when you're at that level, you have a very hard time coming up with creative, products, because businesses like Anheuser Busch at that level, I mean, they're the biggest beverage company in the world. They move like the Titanic, right? Like they just have a really hard time pivoting because there are just so many cogs going in their wheel that it's just really hard to pivot. So what happens a lot of times is rather than innovate themselves, they buy other companies. So they acquire other companies for that very reason, because it's a lot easier for them to go pay $100 million to somebody than it is to innovate it themselves. So for me, it's that's the world that I live in. So the reason I want to get your opinion on this brand is because, number one, I just don't know if it moves the needle. I guess my question is, do you care that your favorite rapper, celebrity, whomever is doing a beverage? So I'll stop there and ask you that question. If you see somebody endorse something or put their name on something, does that move the needle for you? Why or why not?
So I think you have to look at that through two lenses. Me as a 32-year-old dude, not really. If it's something that's like close between like a couple alternatives, and like, Miller Lite has like a 49ers can and Bud Light doesn't, then I'll do it, but I'm not going to go out of my way. But the generation below me, that's almost all they care about. Mm-hmm. I think you look at it like from like what Travis Scott did, like with McDonald's, mm-hmm. Or just like looking at anything. Kylie Jenner built a $1 billion literally cosmetics company on her name alone.
Yep.
At the end of the day, those products, how different are they than anything else you can get? Probably not very, but because it's her, billion with a B, that's 1,000 million, you guys. So yeah, like, do I really care? Is it going to move the needle for me or change my behavior? No. Everybody that's below me and then also coming up, 1,000%.
Yep. It's amazing to me that what they did with this move is they are going after the most desired demographic is who they're going after. So if you look at Anheuser Busch as a company, you're going to have your Bud drinkers, you're going to have your Bud Light drinkers, you're going to have your Michelob Ultra drinkers, you're going to have your Corona drinkers. You're going to have all these different styles of drinks. But if I asked you, I'll ask you right now, who is pinpoint me the first person when I say the words Bud Light, who's the first person you think of?
Right now, my dad.
There you go.
Yep.
Your dad's what, 60?
Yep.
So there you go. So what they're doing with this move, so Brian says it actually may grab his interest depending on who it is. I've gone back. I don't even have an answer myself. That's why I wanted to throw it at Adam. It's interesting you say that. I think awareness and interest are two different things. Two very different things. If I'm aware that a celebrity is doing their own thing, or a rapper or an artist is doing their own thing, I may turn my head and say, oh, that's kind of cool. But does that mean I have an interest in it? There's those two very, very different things. Awareness can lead to interest. You have to have one without you have to have one to get the other. You have to have awareness to create interest, right? You can't have an interest without awareness, which is super, super interesting. But my point is, they went after this demo to try to get, excuse me, but the 18 to 26 drinker. Yep. That's what they're trying to go after with this brand.
Yep.
So to me, the brilliance, there's two sides of this. I've really studied this, and I've started to study Travis's brand himself. I watched the documentary. He's probably, if not the top business person in rap right now, he's probably one of the top two. That's how good he is. Everything he does with his brand is so calculated. And I've been studying. So what they did was they gifted out, they call it gifting in this industry. They gifted out like 1,000 boxes of this stuff to like the top influencers that he rolls with. So it's like DJ Khaled and Kylie and all these people. And it's created this groundswell of support for this spiked seltzer. They did it for 6 months before they just launched it this week. They started this project like back in October. If you go to his Instagram, there is one of the most perfect, I don't know if I showed this to you, one of the most perfect pieces of content I've ever seen in the beverage industry. If you go to his Instagram, it is a 50 to 52 second video of Travis in the Anheuser Busch plant in St. Louis, going through. It's him showing up like in his Maserati. It's all his music. It's him walking through the production facility and like dabbing with people, like real people, like in the orange vests and the hairnets and everything, and literally like taking his cup, putting it up to like one of the vessels, unscrewing it and saying, tasting it, pineapple. It was relatable. It was all the things that you say good content is. It was relatable. It was, I can't even say it. If you want to watch it and comment, feel free.
Yeah. I think that's there's so many lessons in that, even just approach to it. You're talking about a guy who, if there's one guy, for as much as we preach, hey, you can't announce things, you have to launch them. If there's one guy who could just announce it and have success, it's probably this dude, right?
Yeah.
He could probably say, if it launched today, at 10 o'clock this morning, he could have been like, hey guys, I made this, go buy it. And they would have been successful.
Yeah.
But the fact, to your point of him being a savvy business person, even they spent 6 months, right? Building anticipation, building launch. And what we always say is, good content is, content that is exclusive to you. Nobody else could have done that and had it make sense. The fact that it was him in the facility, tasting the actual product, that content is one of one.
Yep.
That's not just a picture of the can opened with it poured into a glass, even though nobody ever has poured a seltzer into a glass to drink it in their life. Sitting in the sunshine with the beaded condensation dripping down. It's not that generic vanilla garbage that you see literally everybody do. That's super unique to him and this product and his process. And it's showing that he's not just slapping his name on it and calling it a day. It's literally, kind of like some other case studies that we've talked about on this show, where somebody posted one picture and said, hey, after months of hard work, this is finally done. And everyone's like, you didn't fucking do anything. Shut up.
Yep. There you go.
Gotta get
everything. It's the gear. It's everything. See,
100%.
I don't mean to gush over it, but I'm gushing over it. Like it's that good. It's that good. The only downside I would say is this: it's another spiked seltzer.
Mm-hmm.
It's another spiked seltzer. Like, I don't know if I get excited about it. I don't. I love that they are thinking about it in this way. I love the content that they're creating. I don't know if I love that it's a spiked seltzer. I don't know if that fits the brand. And it's really tough. It's really tough because we talk about it all the time. Does a spiked seltzer excite Travis Scott's fans, or is it just another spiked seltzer? It's such a hard thing to answer.
Well, and I think that, you're going to see a big part, and like with the fact that Anheuser Busch is involved, like you can obviously draw some conclusions on what they're trying to do. And right. I think that you're spot on with that, but it's the same reason that when Luke Bryan comes out with his own 2-lane lager, you know what I mean? Nobody's expecting that to replace Bud Light or Coors Light or anything like that, So if it was going more like the craft route, that would make a lot of sense to me. The longevity of it is questionable, especially because like Jesus, how many, like you're saying, spiked seltzers exist with the same 6 flavors right now? Like they can only be so different.
I know.
And like that's where as from a branding and a marketing perspective, without knowing any of the backstory behind it, it's a white can with the colors of what the flavor is, and like that's everybody.
It's too bad. It's too bad somebody couldn't come around and do a co-branded deal with somebody in a different category that's about ready to launch soon.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. I just, it's all about the friction. It's all about, finding where the attention is. Trust me, I understand what Anheuser Busch is. I give them a lot of credit. I give them a score of 90 out of 100 on this project because they're acknowledging, they're being self-aware, right? You and I talk about this all the time. They're being self-aware to know that they don't have that 18 to 26 demo. They don't. There's nothing in their portfolio that excites the 18 to 26. Nobody. Now, will they sell a ton of this at Travis's concerts? You bet your ass they will. They're going to sell a lot of this at Travis's concerts. Am I going to try it? Yeah, I will. I want to try it. I want to see what it tastes like. I want to see, because I'll be able to taste it and let you know exactly how much level of innovation that they put in this, and
Right.
how much of this is Bud Light seltzer repackaged. Like, I'll know that from the moment I sip it. So
Right.
I want to see how much they actually put into this, just to analyze it and always get better. But I've been super interested about this project.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think like the thing to think about too is that like when you look at it, it's a really expensive. Where my brain goes, like it's a really expensive case study on the cost of not innovating.
Yeah.
Obviously Anheuser Busch is $1 billion company, so they can afford it. But like, this is like the great case study that like, if these companies were built and acknowledge the world that we live in today and the potential and how fast things can come to fruition, they would have been R&Ding spiked seltzers 10 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they would have tried 5 to 8 things before they hit on White Claw. But nobody wants to do that. You know what I mean? Because your paycheck doesn't change until it's too late.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like so to start, you never go from like 40% market share to 12. You go from 40 to 38 to 38 to 36 to 35. You know, like, so I think that, and obviously I don't think Anheuser Busch is in danger of going out of business here, but how many $1 million do you think they're paying Travis Scott to do this? Right? For a chance that it might work.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing that for the exact reasons that you said, because they don't have that younger demographic. Why don't they have it? Because you haven't been trying to. Because you throw a couple $1 million trying to do a funny demo specific commercial on TV, which already shows you're lost if you're paying attention, because these motherfuckers, A, don't watch TV, or B, as soon as commercials come on, they're in here, and then you look up and it's like, we're screwed because everybody's dying off that drinks our stuff.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like that, to me, that's the interesting part. Mm-hmm. And how much freedom and creativity can you create with this brand to not do things the way they have been? Like the fact that they went the influencer route and they gifted so many things, that's great, because that already shows a change in, approach and, and vision. But like you're saying, like Travis, being that it's Travis Scott, that can get just about everybody that follows him to try it once.
Yep.
But like you're saying, if it's 2 degrees off of Bud Light seltzer, are you paying $15 for a 6-pack of this, or are you paying 12 for a 12-pack of Bud Light?
You just took the words out of my mouth. Is the value prop? So it's 7% alcohol. I still have it on my screen here. They call it an agave spiked seltzer, which agave is just a hot word right now. People just love agave. It's the new tequila. It's the new hipster tequila. Which means all this is, and for those that don't know, all these spiked seltzers, they're just fermented sugar. They're categorized as a beer. They're fermented sugar. That's how they get the alcohol. They literally put cane sugar in water. Like, you could do this at home. Like, you put your sauce pot on the stove. You pour a pound of sugar for a gallon of water. You stir it up. You heat it so it becomes a simple syrup. you add yeast to it, you can make your own spiked seltzer at home. There's about 10 more different, everybody's running to the store to buy pounds of sugar now. There's about 10 more steps in there. All of it has to do with filtration. But anyway, that's how you do this. So for me, the standard spiked seltzer is 5% alcohol, 100 calories. So this one is 7% alcohol, and they don't say the calories on it. So that leads me to believe that it's a little bit higher. So it's going to be probably like, just doing some quick math, like 150, 160 calories. So, and it's probably going to be a premium product. You just said it's probably going to be $14.99 for a 6-pack. So are Susie and Johnny Q 22-year-old going to spend $15 on their weekend's worth of drinks because it's more alcohol? But are they going to keep you there because they have extra value? Are people going to sunset off of this brand because it is 150 calories and I'm trying to hit my fitness goals because the weather's getting better? So yeah, you said it perfectly. It is a very expensive case study, And my last point is on one of our co-branded calls this week, one of the things that I said, so we nailed those 3 flavors, right? On one of those, one of the things that I said to the owner of that brand was, any brand worth its weight in salt should always be in R&D mode. Yep. Always. We should always try to be putting ourselves out of business, because guess what? The minute we're not trying to put ourselves out of business, they are. And they're going to come out with a product that's going to wipe us off the shelves and then get into that pattern of habit. We talk about this a lot, breaking that pattern of habit. That's why there needs to be zero friction with the way I order, zero friction with the brand, because it has to fit my lifestyle. Because every day that goes by, people have less and less patience. That's the word I'll use. Less and less patience to introduce new things into their lifestyle unless they are completely frictionless.
Well, I think the big thing is that it started really with my generation, and then everything ages up. But patience to wait for anything. So like let alone how you order or purchase or acquire your drinks for the weekend. Like if your computer takes 14 seconds longer than normal to boot up, you're furious for that minute. 14 seconds. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that like this is like a great example where like you really have to, there can't be any hangups. Like you told the story a couple of weeks ago, how many things have to go right to make one bottle of wine. You know what I mean? Like think about how many things have to go right for you to acquire and keep a customer, right? Never mind, all the shit that it takes specifically in a field like spiked seltzers that's like mildly competitive right now. Never mind breaking through that noise to even get them to fucking see you. Right. Which that alone is a very long, very expensive process. But B, what's your product going to be that's going to make them be like, yes, this is so much better than White Claw or Bud Light Seltzer or Corona Seltzer or Michelob Seltzer or fill in the blank, that, yep, this is my new thing right now.
Yep. Brian has a good question. 7% seltzer, high price point. Is the rap crowd or typical 20-something going to go after that? That's what we're talking about, Brian. This is going to be a fascinating case study. And this is the stuff that I like to read about and study, just because it's my life. But number one, I'm into it. I'm into trends. I'm into, as is Adam. Just our jobs are figure out where the eyeballs are. Like figure out what you're consuming on your couch from 7 till 11 p.m. Like just figure that out and you win. So my opinion, Brian, since you asked, is I don't think the higher price point is going to be the biggest point of friction, because you have to remember, these guys are the same group that they're going after is, I don't know if you know who the Nelk Boys are on YouTube. Their brand is called Full Send. So they're like these bro guys that go out and just do crazy stuff on YouTube, but their merch is called Full Send. Like that's their call. So my son, who's 14, he texts me, he signs up for their text because it's like this super VIP text, like merch drop. So every time they do a merch drop, they do it at like 2:30 in the morning, and you have to be awake and you have to get the text, and they send the flag. They sell like the flags, like, you put in your basement or the man cave or your teenager's room.
Yep.
They sell a flag that's probably 3x4. Maybe I'm overstating it a little bit. Guess how much they sell that flag for? Just out of curiosity, I want to hear you guess.
$75.
Close, $65 for a flag that probably cost them $4.50 to make.
Yep.
On top of that, another example, one of the other brands I work with, Lyrical Lemonade. Lyrical Lemonade is the go-to for emerging artists. What they have prided themselves on is, if Cole Bennett is shooting a video for the artist, they are the next big thing. The Kid Leroy, Juice WRLD, all those guys. He tries to get to them first. Same thing. They drop a merch drop. Their hoodies are going for $100. Not only are they going for $100, they're on eBay the next day for $475.
Yep.
So I don't think the price point is going to be the driving, motivating factor for the 20 somethings or even younger. What I'm interested in is what these kids are into is the super high exclusive stuff, because it's a status thing. It's nothing else. Like, my kids are walking around. Taven has one of those Lyrical Lemonade hoodies it's a champion hoodie, by the way, like the ones that we used to find in like Walmart when we were kids, like the champion hoodie, by the way. If this is the champion hoodie that is made from 4 different ones, so it has 2 different colored sleeves, it has different here.
Those look so fucking ugly. No offense, Taven, but Jesus, those are.
Have you seen it? Have you seen the picture of it?
They're horrendous.
They're horrendous. But he walked through Toggenburg with that Lyrical Lemonade sweatshirt on. A kid offered him $500 for it on the spot. He goes, "I will pay you $500 for it on the spot." He said no, because for him, the $500 was less than him strutting through Toggenburg wearing that Lyrical Lemonade sweatshirt. So my point is this: a mass-produced, hyper-competitive marketplace like Spike Seltzers, are the kids going to be into that? Because it's not hyper exclusive. It's not, the other reason they love this stuff is because the old guys like you and me don't know about it. They don't know about Lyrical Lemonade. They don't know about, whatever. They don't know about Travis Scott. But now it's right in your face. It's going to be in every grocery store in this country. And it's going to be, so I don't know. I don't have an answer for you, Brian. It's very long-winded. You can tell I love talking about this stuff. I don't have an answer to your question.
Well, I mean, I think you nailed it. The price. So here's the interesting thing for me with that. The price, in theory, doesn't matter. The Lyrical Lemonade hoodie is a great example. Like, literally, like, one word.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? Price doesn't matter. But here's the thing with that, though. Like you said, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Obviously, we do not support or condone underage drinking on this show. But obviously it happens.
Yep.
Obviously, that's a chunk of the audience that follows a Travis Scott that would be what they're shooting for here.
Yep.
Here's a very interesting misstep with that, though. There's a reason that, from what I've heard, kids, when they do drink, there's a reason when you drink underage, you drink shitty beer and shitty vodka and shitty everything, right?
There's one can of lemonade going for $25, a collaboration. One can on eBay.
Case.
Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
So here's the thing to that. So, like, you could convince or even buy yourself that can of lemonade as an 18-year-old kid or 17-year-old kid. What I was saying, there's a reason that, from what I've heard, when you're drinking at 18, 19, 17, 20 years old, there's a reason you're drinking, Keystone Light or, Mr. Boston vodka, because it's the cheapest shit you can get your hands on, right? So there's a pretty big disconnect there between, purely for legal reasons, 18, 17-year-old kids acquiring. I mean, if you want to get enough, to get, you're talking $100 from one party. You can get 9 cases of Keystone with that.
$200 Lyrical Lemonade, Chicago Bears Lyrical Lemonade collab hoodie.
We gotta talk to Taven about the concept of money. $500, that's a good deal.
If I showed you his closet right now, oh my God.
My man. There's other things we can do with that.
Have I mentioned my kids are spoiled, by the way? Have I mentioned that?
Dad's got a cool job. What do you want?
Yeah. Oh, we're very lucky. I think it is I applaud what Anheuser Busch has done with this, because at least they're taking a shot, I mean, they're taking it, shooters got to shoot, bro. Like, I mean, it's like, I had this conversation earlier this week, I was talking with one of my clients, and we were on the call with one of the co-packers, one of the people that makes his beverage. And I didn't even know this was going to happen. And the co-packer's like, so is equity on the table for this deal? My guy goes, like out of nowhere. He didn't even tell me. He was going to ask the question. And so my client calls me back. He's like, dude, did you have any idea he was going to hit me with that? I'm like, shooters got to shoot, bro. I go, the worst thing that you say is no. The worst thing that happens with Anheuser-Busch and Cacti and Travis Scott is they don't make their money back. What they spent, you said it before, and you're 100% correct. I have a ballpark idea of what that deal looks like. It's a 7-figure deal, and he's probably getting 0.25% of all sales. Like, that's probably what he's getting. And that's probably going to be, $50 million by the time that deal's done. But at least they tried. They're not just sitting on the sideline, not to pontificate too much, but they're not just sitting on the sideline saying, boy, I wonder what that Travis Scott thing would look like. Like, they went out and did it. They put their money where their mouth is, and they did it. So yeah, I think it's really cool. I hope it tastes good. It probably doesn't, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm out on the spiked seltzers. Hard.
You're onto something else. You're onto something else with a little bit more flavor.
Yes, I am. Yes.
I mark my words. I think there's going to be a boomerang effect in that space. I think we're going to get away from, because everybody's trying to get to the 5% ABV. Everybody's trying to get to 100 calories. Everybody's trying to get to 1 gram of sugar. Everybody's trying to get to 1 carb.
Here's the thing. I hype you up a lot. I think that you are going to end up looking very smart, because I just genuinely believe that the same shit that you saw happen with the craft beer industry is going to happen with the seltzer-like beverage industry, because beer was the same way for a while. You know what I mean? What Miller Lite, less filling, great taste, less filling, great taste. It was the same thing. Get to the lowest calorie, the lowest carb, and all that. And we bottomed out at Mick Ultra.
Yep.
Right? That's about down here. And then now everybody's kind of going back up into this stuff. You are 100%. I don't think you've ever said it on record on the show, but we've talked about it dozens of times offline with clients. That's where we're going with this.
Yep.
There's only so many fucking 98 calorie black cherry seltzers that this world needs. Guys, we're good. Stop. We don't need any more. Let it go.
When Coors Light comes out with a seltzer, we've jumped the shark. We have officially jumped the shark. It's over. It's over. So that boomerang.
The fact with Coors Light, that I don't know if you saw this, they were giving it away. You bought a 12-pack of Coors Light beer, and you got a voucher for a 6-pack of Coors Seltzer for free. Like, that's not marketing, guys. That's not philanthropy. That is literally saying we have to give this shit away for you to try it.
That's begging.
Yeah.
That's legit begging. That is my customer base finds literally zero value. $0.00. I find zero value in that brand. I will give you this many dollars for that brand.
Uh-huh.
That's sad. That is no other word for it. That is just sad. So that's why I applaud it, because, you know, Anheuser Busch, they looked at their portfolio. They're like, wait a minute, because here's the punchline for what you just said. They're all going after the same drinker.
Yep.
They're all going after the same drinker. The Bud Light, Coors Light, Labatt Blue Light, Spike Seltzer, Truly, they're all cutting up the same pie. There's only this pie. They're all cutting up that same group.
Yep.
There's no. So what Anheuser Busch said, here we go. They had the audacity to grow the pie. They said, wait a minute, everybody's going after 25 to 55 or 25 to 75 or not even like 30 to 75. We're going at unabashedly, we are going after 18 to 26 to expand our pie, not cut up the same drinker over and over and over. They innovated. And if here's the punchline for me, if freaking Anheuser Busch can innovate, everybody can innovate. They are one of the top 10 companies probably in the world when it comes to revenue. And they can innovate to try to not die. Now, if this fails, are they going to die? No, it's freaking Anheuser Busch. But at least they tried. They want to be the first one to 18 to 26, because that the reason they're the most, I don't think we've said this, they're the reason the 14 to 24 is the most sought after demographic, because they are figuring out what their habits are right now. Those are your transformative years between 14 and 24. Do people innovate much after 24? I don't know about you, but not much. My stuff was pretty much in place between those 10 years, you know? So that's why they're trying to get into that demo. Yes, we're not promoting underage drinking. I'm not saying that.
Never.
What I'm saying is they're trying to get people into the door.
Right. Just from what I've heard on the streets, sometimes it occasionally starts earlier than 21. That's all.
Exactly. So I think it's a fascinating case study. I wanted to get your opinion on it, but it's just, go ahead.
I think the interesting thing with that too, like not only it's a very, very interesting and then simultaneously exciting and terrifying time for a lot of these big corporations, is that you're 100% right. 18 to 24 really are your formative years as far as decisions that you are going to make about where you are and are not going to be a recurring customer.
Yep.
And the other thing that is still true on March 19th, 2021, is that these Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies still have zero idea on how to get the attention of those people.
Yep.
Zero.
Yep.
Zero. Because by the time they just get an Instagram story strategy in place, they're gone.
Yep.
It is the fastest moving target that I think people have ever seen marketing wise. And they're not ready. When you build a corporation so big, that does take so long to innovate and move. It's, you know, they gotta be shitting their pants. I would write Travis Scott a check for 50 mil tomorrow if it meant that he could catch me up for 30 years of not changing anything.
Yep.
Like if you look, like there are companies, because I've been like doing a lot of research on it for various other alcohol brands that may or may not be doing some stuff on Facebook right now. Mm-hmm. So you can see every Facebook page's ad library. I can go to any Facebook page and you can see every ad that they're running. If I showed you a list of people that are doing zero right now on those platforms, which by the way, that counts Instagram too.
Yep.
Zero, you'd be shocked. And they're already 10 years late on that.
Why do you think that is?
Because people don't, once you get to that point, they're focused on keeping their stock price up and keeping their investors happy, and CEOs hitting goals for bonuses and so on and so on. They don't give two shits about innovating. They don't give two shits about tomorrow. All they care is about today. And like we said, when you're losing a cent off of every paycheck, you don't really notice it today, tomorrow, or next week. But when you do that every day every week, every month, every year for 12 years, all of a sudden you look up, you're in big trouble. Like you've seen it. Like we've talked about on the show, Toys R Us, biggest fucking toy retailer of my lifetime. Mm-hmm. You didn't go to the toy store as a kid, you went to Toys R Us. Gone. Because they didn't innovate. Gone. Like that. I mean, we talked like Pizza Hut. Pizza Hut was the player in fast food pizza.
Yep.
Gone. Pretty much. I mean, not, but like gone. I don't think we have any left here.
No, I think there's like one in like Chittenango left. I think that's it.
Right. And then ask the CEO of Toys R Us what he was telling people 6 months before they went out of business. I'm sure everything was great. I'm sure he probably just hit his bonus the quarter before for stock price. I'm sure they did. But that's the thing. You don't have businesses or brands or companies or corporations that are incentivized to grow and to innovate. Because guess what? If you were innovating and you were trying that stuff and you were experimenting and failing, you're gonna lose money in those corners. Maybe not in the aggregate, but like profits would be lower because you would have invested some of those profits in those innovations. People don't want that.
Yep.
Because then your stock price dips. And then as a CEO, I only make 17 million this year instead of 22. And God knows we can't have that. How are we going to feed the kids on $17 million, man?
Would you rather make $17 million once, or would you rather make $14.5 million every year for the next 35?
I mean, any part of that sounds great to me, but but no, and look at this place. Even this place is a great example. We don't need any of this. We could have decided 4 years ago. I never had to hire anybody. You know what I mean? I could have limited I'm going to take 11 clients, no more. And I'm going to charge a premium and I'm going to make $170,000 a year. Okay. Could have done that. It's right there. That's not what I want. I want it to go bigger than that. You know what I mean? I didn't give a shit about my stock price in 2019. We invested it in this office. We invested it in the stuff that we have here. We invested it in new creative equipment. You know what I mean? I believe long-term that's going to work. There's people in this town that didn't do that, said that we still believe in traditional mediums and average, the radio's not dead yet. Yes, it fucking is. You know where they are now? Retired.
Right. Or working in other industries. I just think it is going to be a fascinating case study. This is what I'll wrap with is this boils down to one of the 5 things that you and I always talk about. This is 80-20 stuff right here. Anheuser Busch decided that they're going to pay all of their bills and then some, and they're going to bonus their board and they're going to bonus their CEO $40 million. They've decided that the 80% selling Bud Light and Bud Light Seltzer and Budweiser and Michelob Ultra and the other 50 beers that they make, they are going to do that 80%. That pays their bills. That allows you to sleep well at night. You don't have to worry about seeing zero in your bank account the next morning. That's what they've decided. They've earmarked 20% of their profits. They've created a division called the innovation team to work on projects like this. This project probably took 18 months to create. I bet you this was probably mid 2019 when somebody sat in a boardroom in the innovation team and said, what if we were to pair with one of the hottest rappers right now? What kind of demographic does he pull in? 14 to 26. Cool. What if we created a product that we market to his fans? Well, a lot of them aren't 21 yet. Yeah, but if we get them hooked and we get them hearing about Cacti, connected with him, everybody becomes 21 at some point. They were investing into kids with this brand that when they do become of age and can make their own choices, they want to be the first drink that they have. I mean, that is investing seven, I mean, my daughter and her friends listen to it. They're 12. They follow on Instagram. You're going to hear about cacti and alcoholic beverage to the 12-year-old. I know there's a lot of things in there. I get that. That you're not allowed to market to minors, and I get that. My point is, they are making the investment 9 years ahead of when Paige turns 21 to be able to make her own choices. I'm not saying everybody has to innovate 9 years ahead of time. That's what they're trying to do. Because guess what? Cacti-like products could become their 80% at some point. Bud Light could be 20% of their portfolio, and co-branded younger brands like Cacti could become 80%. But they had to spend the 20% to see if that's going to be true or not.
100%. And, you brought up a really good point there too, is that, obviously there's a lot of kind of just moral and, ethical parts to this that are very much a part of the conversation, but, it's no different than, we'll say late 80s, early 90s, cigarette and tobacco companies. Who did they market to? There's a reason that there was cartoon characters, and like literally every ad was a cartoon. Why was that? Why were cigarette ads at eye level for an 8-year-old and not an 18-year-old? Obviously not saying it's right or that I agree with it, but there's psychology behind it, and it's the same type of thing here where, if you can get in that early, that's kind of what the strategy is there, whether or not it's, right or something you agree with, that's a bigger conversation, but like the blueprint's there.
That's it. Episode 49 in the books. We're talking booze on a Friday. We end up talking about booze on Fridays a lot, you and me.
Funny how that happens.
We're in the industry, so we're allowed to talk booze. We can talk booze on a Monday if we wanted to.
Usually also talking about booze on a Monday, but for different reasons.
Episode 49 is all about innovate or die. I mean, that's really what this is. We don't just talk about the 80-20. We practice the 80-20. And you have to practice the 80-20. I'm about ready to announce this project that I'm working on that checks all of these boxes. And if you had told me a year ago that I was working on this level of project with the artists that we're about ready to launch, and in the category that we're about ready to launch in, I would have said you're crazy, but I would have listened, because that's the 20% that's not making me money today, but it could make me money in 12 months. And that's why I want to keep innovating. And that's why the beverage industry is such an interesting category to work in, because I want to see how this plays out with Travis Scott. I want to see how his fans react to it. And I want to see how many cans of cacti I see being consumed on the lake this summer. That's what I want to see. Is it going to transcend his current fans and have a standalone brand for 37-year-old mother of two in the middle of Cazenovia Lake? Is that going to work? Are those two things going to come together? So I'm fascinated by the whole thing.
It'll be interesting to see, man. It's not something that's really ever kind of been done before, but that also kind of just makes you feel like it's the right move.
Yep.
It'll be interesting.
That's it. Episode 49. We appreciate you because we understand that time is your most valuable asset. So we had a lot of people hang on a long time today. We appreciate you joining us always. You can always watch it on YouTube later on. And it's going to be a gorgeous weekend. Get outside, enjoy the weekend. Appreciate you.
See you.